Hi, welcome. It's time for a candidate's reading a children's book, or in this case, a candidate doing a reading for children, but it's not a children's book, of the Constitution, and actually the second part, which is called the Bill of Rights. So today I'll be starting the Bill of Rights with you, although I already started last week, but I did a special one because I had a event to go to about the 19th Amendment in Washington, D.C., and now I'm back. So now we'll get back to doing them in order. But anyways, I am Susan Maude Buchser-Lochocki. I am a presidential candidate still from the 2024 presidential election. I have a lawsuit pending with the Supreme Court about the fact that the election process is fraudulent and we need change. So while they're considering that, I'm still available to be president. I have not conceded the election. And I am here today to read you. Let's see how far we get. The First Amendment has a lot of amendments in it, lots of rights. So it could be that maybe we just get to the first and maybe the second. And then we'll stop there. And yeah. Because I'll do reading and then I'm going to discuss just a little bit about what it means for you, the public. So anyway, yeah. So I'm still a candidate waiting to hear on my lawsuit, and welcome. So the Constitution of the United States of America and the Bill of Rights. So I'm reading the Bill of Rights, which is the first 10 amendments. And the First Amendment reads like this: Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion, or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech, or of the press, or the right of the people peaceably to assemble, and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. And yeah, last week I did many of these things where I spoke freely, assembled peaceably, and I addressed the government with redress of grievances. So what all that means is our government is not supposed to have religion whatsoever. And I believe that's also on the state level, although it's not explicitly written here. I believe it's also supposed to be on the state level. No government within the United States should take on a religion or any religious role. And so that's why you often hear about, should we put the 10 Commandments in the schools, in public schools? You can put the 10 Commandments in any other school that isn't a public school and that isn't providing or isn't provided with funds from the federal government. If they get funds from the government, federal or state or local, then they should not be putting the 10 Commandments up. It's unconstitutional. That's what this is, the Constitution. And so the Bill of Rights is part of the Constitution. So no religious displays should be up unless religion is being taught. And being taught is not that you pick one religion and you teach it. You have to teach at least 5 religions. So actually 4 religions, and you have to teach the fact that there's atheists, that the option is to not believe at all. And then during that study time, things can go up on the wall that are religious, but they have to represent the 5 different aspects, 4 religions, and stuff about atheism has to go up on the walls. So we do not focus on just one religion, and the reason for that is because we are united in our diversity, and there are more than 4,000 religions out there. So, we cannot allow ourselves to pick one and say this is it, because there are many. And the next part of this amendment explains why. Because we do not prohibit the free exercise of religion either. So everyone is allowed to practice their religion where they are, as long as, and if it's in a teaching format where they're teaching about many religions, that's one thing. But to have a teacher focus on just one religion in her or his classroom and force the children to follow it, this is not acceptable. Absolutely not acceptable. Because all of us have freedom to believe what we want. And some of us believe that there's no higher being or imaginary friend. And then we believe that. But you are free to believe whatever religion you want. If you believe in God or not, that's up to you. Even your parents don't have the right to tell you to believe in a God or not. They can suggest that you do this, but they don't have the right to force you. So that is how freedom of religion is. So you have freedom to believe what you want and practice it in a way that doesn't hurt yourself or anyone else, and even animals. You can't hurt animals either, unless it's a normal tradition where it is gone through the local jurisdiction and decided it is acceptable behavior to do. Some religions have some extreme ideas about girls and boys and marriage and possessions, and these are old ways of thinking from like 200 years ago that just are not done today. And I think that the reason why the founding fathers put this into writing, into our laws, is because they had experienced a lot of wars due to religion in their own world, in Europe, before they came to the Americas. And they learned that having countries declare religions has a lot of bad side effects. And so they decided no specific religion, but freedom to choose your own. And not every country allows that. So that is something that is to be acknowledged. I think many of our founding fathers were from different faiths. Some were Catholic, some were Protestant, some were Reformed, some were, some of our founding people were also like native German speakers or whatever. So they had a whole different group of religions that they were bringing in. Then there were the Quakers and the Mormons, and so they were all coming from different faiths. And since none of them had a majority, probably, or a clear majority, they decided, no, we'll leave it like this, because I don't believe in your religion and you don't believe in mine, and I like to practice my way, and so on. So that's how compromise happens. When confronted with so much diversity, it's just best to say, okay, you do you, and I'll do me, and we'll leave this blank playing field that is not determined in any way where it is. Then the next part, so Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, as long as it doesn't hurt or break any of our other laws. Then, or abridging the freedom of speech. So Congress cannot make any laws that abridge the freedom of speech. So that also means freedom of expression. Again, it's one of these things that if you're like an actor on a stage, or if you're doing a performance artwork, on the state capitol, at the state capitol, you have that right. You have freedom of speech. And Congress cannot stop you from speaking. And you can speak many things, and it's all legal. And then we have or freedom or of the press. So Congress does not have the right to make laws respecting or abridging the freedom of the press. And that is really good, because we do want honest opinion from the media on different topics. And we want honest facts, actually, not even opinion. We want honest facts about things, because they're reporters and they're supposed to report what they know to be true. But in today's world, on the internet, we have a lot of misinformation going on. A lot of facts are not real, and they're fabricated. So it's hard even as an adult to figure out what's true and what's not. So I can only imagine, if you're a child, how difficult this can be. So when you have a question about something you've heard, ask a trusted adult, ask them if it's true or not, or do a little research online and see if it's happening in other places or if it's really true. A lot of things that media puts out there are exaggerated, which is also sort of a fake thing. And some things that people have done are pretty strange. That's also true. So some things are unbelievable. So it is best to check with an adult. Don't always check with your brother or sister. They might not always know. So a trusted adult is perfect. That means, anything from your teacher to a school counselor, to your neighbor, to your parents, to a grandma or grandpa, or whatever the case may be. Yeah, that's freedom of the press. And right now, in the news, sometimes the press does, they don't always tell things accurately. So this is a little scary at the moment. And then Congress shall make no laws respecting an establishment of... No, Congress shall make no laws or the right of the people to peaceably assemble. So Congress cannot make laws against people assembling peacefully. Now, assembling and speaking, when you're doing like anti-war protesting or whatever, the trick is that in most capitals around the U.S. and in our own capital, the U.S., in Washington, D.C., if you really are planning on having a big event, you need to get a permit before, because you may be setting up sound systems and other things, and you'll need a permit. But if you are just going there to speak, without setting up a lot of permanent equipment or anything, then you don't need a permit. And so there is the allowment of peaceably to assemble and freedom of speech without getting the government involved or having to jump through hoops or anything. You can speak and give a speech. And even if the group is mobile, then there is no need for a permit, and you can just simply get together and have your speech. Unless things are really unless you build a tent and you're having it indoors somewhere, then you'll need a permit. But outside, without any form of overhead protection or anything that was built, then it's fine. So assembly is fine. And even to the right of the people to assemble to talk about issues with the government is also okay. So you can get some people together and sit down in a room and have a discussion about how you want to make the country better. And this is also acceptable. Okay, the government can't do anything. We are allowed to get together, indoors or outdoors, and talk about anything we want. That's what the First Amendment says. And then once we peaceably assemble and discover what we want, then we also have the right to go to the government and tell them about it. So, and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. So that's that part where, we can do it verbally. We can make videos about it, advertisements about it. We can also write laws about it and send them in. We can also write lawsuits about it. And so this is where I am. I have a lot of grievances that we need to address in our country, and so I'm doing a lot of this, bringing awareness and making lawsuits, trying to bring change. Washington and people in the government are aware of me and what I have to say, and they are listening, and they're working it out, is what I can say. That's what I see. So I'm doing my best to be available and to give information, knowledge, and instructions. So, but yeah, so this is it's kind of like being an influencer, I guess. I do sometimes just influencing online, but then sometimes I go in person and I do one of my influencing performances. And, I think, we're at 18 minutes. Okay, so let me stop there because that went kind of long. So, but I will do is reread it once again all together, and it's only the First Amendment, which has many amendments inside. So, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press, or the right of the people to peaceably assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. There you go. That's the First Amendment. Okay. That's the end for this week. I hope you enjoyed the reading and explanation. And next week, I guess we'll get to the Second Amendment. So thank you for stopping by. And if you want to find out more about me and my pending lawsuit and everything, that is Susan4USA.com. That's Susan, the number 4, USA.com. Okay, have a good day. Bye for now.